Today on Lead with Love, I wanted to discuss, this will actually be a pretty brief Lead with Love today, but I wanted to discuss a program that was started by the federal government. And I want to know if you've ever heard of this program. But basically, it was an IRA program by the government so that anybody could start an IRA, no matter what income level you had, no matter what you had. You could start it with a very minimal balance and be able to add to it. We're going to discuss that today on Lead with Love. The government starts programs, and this is how they do it. The Senate and the Senate and the House of Representatives, they come up with a program, a policy, whatever you want to call it. And then what happens is that can be passed into law. When it's passed into law, then what happens is that every government agency that's involved in that has to shore up resources to be able to make that program work. Well, there are some programs just die on the vine. And the program that I'm about to discuss with you right now, I want to make sure that you understand, that this is a program that actually existed. And it was something that was brought up by the Obama administration to help any individual start up an IRA. The program actually was, I was one of the, I think they said 20,000 people that were involved in it. Started up an IRA with that. And then about within a year or so, it died. And I couldn't figure out why did it die? It was a perfectly good program. There wasn't a problem with it, at least from what I could see. But basically, so it was called MyRA. Now, if you've heard of this, good. At least you were one of the 20,000 or 30,000. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people in the United States, and out of those hundreds of millions of people, 30,000 were involved in this program. So and this was done by the Obama administration, and then it was dumped in the Trump administration because they said there just wasn't enough involvement by individuals that would have offset the amount of administrative fees and everything else that, basically paying for I'm sure contractors to be able to make this thing work. And I got to tell you, this is what caused this, right? What was the thing that caused this failure? And it was just, it was interesting because it's just lack of marketing. Let me tell you something. ACA was marketed like crazy. Obamacare marketed like crazy. Every single day, I was sick and tired of ACA. Every day it was thrown down our throats. ACA this, Obamacare that. MyRA, nothing. Here's what they came out with, right? U.S. Department of Treasury. U.S. Treasury launches MyRA, My Retirement Account, to help bridge America's retirement savings gap. This was done in 2015, folks. 2015. 2 years later, in 2017, the program was trashed, dumped, garbage, whatever you want to call it. It was out. So, but this is all I saw. I didn't even see this. I was out there looking for IRAs, and all of a sudden, I came upon MyRA. In fact, it was one of the search topics. And I sat there and said, I wonder what this is. Went in there and said, I'll start one. What the heck? It sure as heck can't hurt. And it's nice. The thing was sad. The thing was that this, not everyone can start an IRA, right? If you start an IRA, you're going to have to start one of the financial companies. It's going to cost you fees. It's going to, they're going to take fees out of that account. This was free, MyRA. I know, this is amazing, right? So they set up all the government stuff. Now, I get it why the Trump administration did this stuff, because it was kind of like, the drain in the swamp aspects. Hey, this isn't a program that's not being facilitated. It's not, nobody's involved in it. So, the heck with it. Well, I was involved in it, but I saw nothing in the way of marketing on this. Nothing. So I think this is the government's failure in a program that really was a good program. But again, I didn't see much come out of the Obama administration either, folks. I mean, I get it where Trump dumped it, and maybe just marketing it a little bit better would have done it well. But I didn't see any marketing from the Obama administration either. Why? Because they were hitting on ACA. It was a big deal. ACA, they wanted ACA, ACA, ACA. Plus, the guy was a lame duck. He was out, right? I mean, it was 2015, right? That was November 4th, 2015. A year later, he was basically, you know, he was out. He was out anyways. I mean, it was a lame duck. But in the last year, this would have been really a good program. I mean, for anybody, that maybe they don't have 401ks, they could have done that, right? They're taking steps in the right direction to serve as a bridge to other savings options, all these things the rest of the way. I mean, this was going to be a good deal. And Jacob Lew was the Treasury Secretary at that time. No fees, no risk of losing money, no minimum balance or contribution requirements. This could have helped people on their taxes. All this stuff could have happened. Nothing. U.S. Department of Treasury. I saw nothing else. There was never, as far as I can see, there was never anything on TV, even the public service announcements. When I worked in radio, it was public service announcements were done like on midnight, from the government. They didn't want them during the day. Now they have them during the day and Social Security, things like that. That's good. But I mean, this could have really done well. And if President Biden were smart, saying he's not, but why didn't he reactivate it? If he didn't like the things that Trump did, why didn't he reactivate my IRA? That would have bridged him. I mean, because he stated that he wanted to take care of older individuals, of seniors. A lot of seniors don't have IRAs. Let them get an IRA. Let them do it without fees. Let them do it without anything. If he wants so badly to have the government take care of people, this would have been a perfect situation to be able to get people to start IRAs. And then they could have built on that later on. So and the thing is, a lot of people are going to tell me, it's just one program. A lot of programs do this. There's lots of programs out there that you and I don't even know about that start up and all of a sudden they go away. And what did this help? It certainly did not help Obama because he was out. So he was gone from the presidency in 2016. He's out, right? So who did it help? Did it help? This was a situation where, like I said, it was a lame duck. Was he doing it for his vice president? Was he doing it for, somebody else that was running? Was he doing it to, what was he doing in that last year that with a good program like this that would have helped people, like the ACA helped them in health, this would have helped them in retirement. I don't get it. I don't understand, but that's just one area. So I think this is important to understand. So let's just go through this for a second. So what happens? Well, here's what the government says. The government grows with every program. It does. The U.S. government grows with every single program that happens. It grows. I'll tell you how it grows. It grows because the first thing you have to do is you have to hire people, right? You have to hire people for the program. Hire people for the program. They go, oh, we don't have the money to be able to hire people. Oh, it's okay. We'll get contractors. That's how everything is done. We'll get contractors. No problem. Because contractors are under a different area of funding than government workers are. So you can go out and you can hire contractors. So they go out and they get contractors. And the amount of money they pay for these contractors is absolutely astronomical. I used to know this because I used to be in the contracting area, and I used to see what they paid these people. Now, these people didn't get that much money. The contracting office got that money. Not the contracting office, the contractor got that much money. The company that provided those contractors, they did that. And that's how it was done. So you get contractors, and then what happens is then the contractors come in and they do, work, but they get paid, big time dollars, and the government loves that because then they can blame everything on the contractor. Oh, the contractor did this, contractor did that, contractor. Oh, they didn't know what they were doing. Blah 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 blah. No responsibility is on the government worker. It's all on the contractor. And it's interesting because people like Snowden, right? He was a contractor. He was a contractor for the Department of Defense, and he, he's now sitting over in Moscow. I don't know what he's doing, but the bottom line is Mr. Whistleblower is sitting over there, getting all kind of money or whatever he's getting from the Russian government to provide them and whomever else with secrets that he absconded with here in the United States. So I mean, there's your contractor for you, and interestingly enough, you get the other people. I mean, we've had like one security situation, not one, but probably a number with military people. But these are reservists, or they work with contractors. So I mean, it's like, what do we do here? We have an issue, but this MyRA was basically run by the United States government with the help of contractors, and then they dumped it after 2 years. So I mean, it's just, again, it wasn't important enough for the U.S. government to get behind. They did not market it well. I can tell you because I didn't see anything. And let me tell you something. I look, if I don't, I was looking and looking. I found that, and I think I was there for like 6 months, I think, and they said, "Oh, we're going to shut it down." Like, really? Okay, that's fine. And it's basically, it was a Roth IRA too, so it was taxed right up front. I mean, it was a good program, a good program. So then what happened? Then they dumped it, and this is it, right? Gone too soon. Here, a cruel irony. Just as America is, and this was July 2017, the Trump administration began shuttering the government's IRA savings program, a starter account for low and middle income family. That's not true. It's not just for low and middle income. I mean, you could people that had retirement accounts, anybody could start the retirement account. Anybody could. There was no income level there. So you could start an IRA. I mean, it was an amazing thing. Thorough review found it not to be cost effective. Taxpayers paid about $70 million to keep the 3-year-old IRA program running, and the administration says it would cost another $10 million a year to manage. Yeah, and why? Because of contractors. It's because of contractors. It's not because the U.S. government has workers that are doing that stuff. And interestingly enough, the way the U.S. government does stuff is if they need, if something going on, then they just make up they make up another department is what they do. I'll give you an example. When I worked for the federal government, myself and a contractor of all things, we had a network monitoring system. The two of us managed that. Not a problem. I went on to another job. Contractor went on to another job. They gave it to another guy. They made a branch out of it. Now, I don't know what it is now, but shortly thereafter, about a year or 2 years, they had like 10, 15 contractors on shifts going around the clock. And I was like, why? I had all mine automated. It would just send out a message if there was an issue. But no, they hired contractors. They did all that stuff. That monitor of monitors, all that thing. They put it all together. It's like, what the heck? But that's what the government does. They grow. They grow with every program. They grow. It's hilarious because telework was a big deal. And I was working for the federal government when telework came into being. And the CBO came out and said telework was going to save everybody, $10 million a year, or $20 million a year, or whatever it was. Well, guess what? It didn't do that. And I'll tell you why, because all of a sudden you have a telework office, and then you have a telework area, and then you have to have everybody with new laptops, and then you have to have all the other things that came along with that. So all of a sudden, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, didn't have that. Didn't have a right. I mean, they didn't have a right. Anytime the government grows, you do not save money. Let me say that again, just so you get this. Every time the government grows, you don't save money. It takes more tax-paying money to facilitate the growth of that government area, and it will be that way all the time. And this MyRA is a perfect example of a program that is a good, solid program. And it was just basically dumped because of lack of marketing. And again, I blame both administrations. I blame the Obama administration for not marketing it, and I blame the Trump administration for not marketing it. Instead of saying, hey, look, this thing, it just, there's not enough participation. Why is there not enough participation? Why? Is it because people don't care? Is it because they don't like the program? It's free. There's no fees. There's no minimum balance. What kind of IRA can you get? You can't get an IRA like that. But the government was offering that, and you're telling me that people just kind of looked at it and said, "No, I don't need that." They would have jumped on that. And maybe not the younger workers, although I tend to be, maybe I'm being too judgmental there. Maybe the younger workers would have done that. They would have said, "Whoa, maybe I'll get, hey, I don't know if Social Security is going to be around, although it will be. It's not going to be around. I could do an IRA here, and I could get some gosh darn good percentage, back, and it would be fine." But it just never worked that way. So this is a situation where my IRA just failed. And it failed not because I believe, not because of a lack of participation, but because of lack of marketing. And the US government loves to market things that is in their best interest. And if it's not in their best interest, and if it doesn't help some congressional representative or some politician get reelected, then it fails. Because it's not in my objective. Not my constituents. I'm not going to worry about it. Boom, my IRA fails. And it did. It failed. And then it was all gone. And it's kind of a shame. No fee, no minimum balance, non-deductible Roth IRA for individuals with incomes below 131,000 and couples with incomes under 193,000. Look at this. I mean, low to middle income? This is low to middle income. Really? I mean, wow. Okay. But I mean, this is, it was designed for people without access to employer-sponsored plans like 401ks. Savers can contribute up to $5,500 per year, and the money went into a super safe interest-bearing account, 2.25%, backed by the U.S. Treasury. The maximum amount a saver could keep in the IRA, $15,000. But it gave them the ability to do the things they needed to do. I mean, to get something and then build that, and then you got 15,000, and now it's a Roth IRA, so it's not taxed when you withdraw it. You go and draw it at 59 and a half, you got yourself $15,000. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on the government. I don't know. I was part of it. I was part of the government. Maybe that's something. But I just wanted to bring that up with Learn with Love. Next time we'll talk more about simulators, flight simulators, and talk about X-Plane 12 again, because I want to go into some areas within X-Plane 12 that are pretty important, and we'll talk about that area. But I wanted to just bring that up from the standpoint of my IRA, because I think it's sad. It's just sad. And I was talking with somebody about it, and I thought, something, I'm going to share it with you guys. Just the IRA aspect, and I'm sure that people are going to sit back and go, well, it was a passing thing. Maybe somebody will make it better and make another program. I hope they do. I hope they call it My IRA too, right? And they just go out there and get people to do the things they need to do. Take this failure, which is a failure, a government failure based on marketing, that I think would have been, at least if not a success, would have been a transition to something bigger and another way for individuals to be able to save for retirement. And I think that's pretty important. As for me, I didn't put that much in. It was automatically put into another vendor, and that vendor did charge. So I pulled it right away, and that was it. I didn't do anything else with it. So I mean, I didn't have that much in there. I didn't get that much out. It was all right. 2.25%. And I'm sure you could make it even 4% now with the way that interest rates are going and Treasury is. I mean, it would be good. So that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Just a real short program for you guys. But just let me tell you, the government grows with every program. Every program that comes out of Congress. That's why every time Congress passes a law, I cringe, because I think every time you pass a policy, every time you pass a law, it's going to cost the taxpayers a ton of money, because the U.S. government does not know how to spend it wisely. They will sit there and they will spend it they have a program to kick in, whether it be law enforcement, intelligence, or whatever else. They're going to hire contractors. You're going to go out into the companies, and the companies are going to go out and they're going to get ex-military or whatever else. They're going to get people in, and they're going to pay them, what seems to be a hefty salary, but in actuality, it really isn't. Been there, done that. Trust me, it's not worth it. Not worth the amount of money. that they pay you, because they take a lot. I mean, very little holidays, PTO for everything. You can't take leave. It's just a lot of qualifications on this. A lot of issues with it. But I'll discuss that separately with whomever wants to contact me down here below at candor@statisticssleuth.com. So until next time, this is Chris Greco saying thanks for watching, and I hope this left you with something about government programs, and at least keeps you attuned to the fact that this could happen again. So get out there and find out what programs are available from the U.S. government. I mean, and also when you go out there, .gov, right? Please don't put .com anywhere, like irs.com. No, it's irs.gov, not irs.com. So, don't do that. irs.gov, not irs.com. All right, so go out to IRS, go out to SSA, ssa.gov, cms.gov. Go out to the different government agencies and find out what programs they have available. You can actually go out and do your own research on this stuff, and it would be good. In fact, that's what we'll talk about next time. We'll talk about taxes next time, because that's coming up, and it's on our radar screen at this point. And I think it's important to understand that we are going to have taxes. Why is that? Why do we get taxes? Taxation is something that we do in order to get services, and that's very, very important for us. I mean, would be fire services, police services. We do that. We pay taxes to be able to make that work. It helps us. It does help us up to a point. So we'll talk about taxes next time. Free resources, things you can do to make your tax year a little bit better. And also, I'm going to tell you right now, you want an e-file, you want an electronic file, you want to do all that stuff, have at it. The IRS is saying, if you electronically file, we're going to take you top priority. Yeah, also with the hackers. Electronic filing, I'm going to tell you, a relative of mine did electronic filing, was bragging about it, whatever else, got hacked. I have never done electronic filing and never will do electronic filing. I send mine in by paper, I send it in priority mail, and I send it in trackable. The IRS can never say, I never got your stuff, because I get priority mail tracking back that says it was signed by Joe Schmuckanowski, right? And it's like, I keep that with my taxation. If they say we never, yeah, you did, and this is when you got it. So it's, it helps me to track that. In e-file, you can sit there and say, yep, oh yeah, we have it, whatever else. They can always say, well, we got hacked, or there's an issue, or we didn't get it on the storage drive, or whatever else. You have a paper copy, and I make a paper copy of that whole thing, and I keep a paper copy, and I'll scan it and I'll put it on digital stuff. But basically, I have a copy, and it's a paper copy of what I've done, and it really does help in the long run. Yes, I know it's archaic. Yes, I'm showing my age, but the bottom line is, I have copies of every single one, paper copies of every single one of my tax documents, all the way back to 1980s, which I don't need to keep, but I keep them. So, anyways, we'll talk about all that stuff next time on Lead with Love. And until next time, lead with love, right? Learn, offer, value, educate, and try to do that with everyone. Share this. If more people would have shared that MyRA, might have still been going, right? And I blame myself too. I thought everybody knew about it, right? Nope. So we will see you next time. Lead with love. Take care.